Alright, so got this 2014 BMW X5, and the heads-up display, it works on and off. Most of the time after you cycle, the key will start working, or you let the car sit for a little bit, but it always comes back to where it's in the settings, it's turned off. So when I click it on, sometimes it will work and sometimes it won't. So right now I just clicked it on and it goes right back off, and you see how it just glitches when you try to press it on. And something else is the auto start stop. You can turn it off and on, but you don't see it on the display, and that function's not working either. And when I scan it, I get a few codes in the CAS module about the SCL, but nothing really about the start stop or this heads-up display. So there you go. We're gonna try to get to the bottom of it. Alright, so the first thing you're going to want to do is do a full vehicle scan. BMWs tend to have a lot of codes, and some of them may be relevant and some of them may not be. There's some of them here that I've noticed that basically are saying that the SCL module is faulty or has internal faults, and in any case, we're going to test the battery first, because you want to have a good battery before you can assume that there's anything else going on. So that's what we're going to take care of first and see where it goes. Alright, so we're going to test the battery. Okay, got 12.51 volts. Alright, it's 950 cranking amps. You can find that right on the battery, right in there. It's at 105 amp hours. Alright, and it's like 100 degrees out here today, and it's a bad battery. So we're going to pop a new battery in it first and go from there. Alright, to get this battery out, you gotta take this loose, which I've already done. It's like 2 plastic M6 plastic caps, and we gotta take these out, the terminals, and that 13 mil or M8 bolt down here. Okay, and we can't forget the little vent tube here. That's so important to make sure you put it back on the new one. I also gotta get this bolt down here. And this one right here. Okay, got the bracket out, and now it should come out. Alright, so I'm going to put this AC Delco 49 AGM in there, and this battery is a 95 amp hour and 900 CCA, and the original is 950 and 105. So the reason that's important is because after you're done putting this battery in, not only do you register it, but you also change the amp hour in the coding to 90 amp hour. That's the closest for the 95. If you don't do that, I've seen odd electrical issues like batteries going flat, not charging properly, things like that. Alright, so I got the new AC Delco in and mounted down, but now I'm putting the terminals on, and I thought I'd mention that a lot of times people don't put these terminals on right. They just assume that they're tight, and then you've got a host of problems on these cars when terminals are loose or they're not down all the way. So it's so important to loosen this nut up as much as you can and tap the edges of this terminal down with a hammer and screwdriver and make sure it's all the way down. Like for example, this one right here I haven't done, and this nut I loosened it prior to take off the old battery, and now I'm putting it on here, but you can see that it's not all the way down. And this nut, if I loosen it more, I'll be able to get the terminal down more, and that's what we're looking to do here. Alright, so I just tapped it and you can see that it's down way more. So all battery terminals are not the same, and you got to make sure that you loosen that nut enough, because you might get one that's a little bit larger, and if you're sitting here on the edges, it's just going to come loose and you're going to have a ton of electrical problems down the road. And I see this so much even with mechanics who do this for a living, and they still don't get the terminals on right on any car. So you've got to make sure they're all the way down, and they don't need to be super tight, because if they're all the way down on the taper, then they're just going to grab and be tight. And then you try to twist it and make sure that doesn't turn. And don't forget the vent tube for the new battery. It's this right here. There we go. Alright. And don't forget to fasten the power distribution box back to the battery. Okay. Alright, so now that we got the battery all mounted in and everything connected, just put the storage space right back over it. And it's secured with these little 8mm head screws. Alright, so we're all done back here. Alright, so one thing I noticed right away after changing the battery is that the heads-up display, once I clicked it on, it stays on. And when I cycle the ignition key, then it's keeping its memory. Alright, let's fire it up and check. Heads-up display came on and it's still checked. So before the battery change, right away it would uncheck itself, and then I'd have to go back in there and check it, and then after a short time it wouldn't let you use it anymore. So that's something that I noticed right away, so it seems like that's a good sign. I think I'm gonna go drive it and see if the start stop works. Alright, so the heads-up display has kept working, but I got this little warning lamp that says the start stop doesn't work. And you can see the heads up is got the mileage right in the center. So the heads up has been working ever since the battery change. So I've had some codes before, and I want to see if any of them are related to why the start stop won't work. Alright, we're going to clear everything and see which ones return. Alright, so it looks like we get two codes, one about the mirror, one about the AC. They're kind of unrelated. Alright, so it took about 50 miles of driving, but the start stop did end up working. And now every time you come to a complete stop, it turns off and restarts. This was a case of the original battery being defective caused the ECUs to default into not allowing the start stop to work. And after installing a new battery, it took some time for the prerequisites to be met and for it to start working again. And this was an odd case because the customer complained that the HUD and the start stop stopped working at the same time, and this was over 6 months ago, and they had no issues with jump starting or slow cranking or anything that would be associated with the main battery. And I wanted to go a little bit into the fact that you have to register it and recode the amp hour on the battery. I'm going to make a separate video that's more detailed on that, but here are a couple of clips that show the process in a scan tool of registering it, which is very important. Once the battery is registered, the DME will no longer aggressively charge it, and the amp hours do have to be set to what's closest on the battery. So we'll do that in a separate video, but I hope that this vid can help somebody out who may be having the same thing with the HUD problem or the stop start. Alright guys, thanks.